Well, good evening to anybody that may be joining us live, and to those of you that are watching this recording at a later time or date. We certainly appreciate your interest as well. My name is Michael Gault. I'm an eminent domain attorney with Carrington. And in that role, I work with my team to represent landowners across the Southeast in eminent domain projects where private property may be acquired for a public purpose from any governmental entity. If you're here with us this evening, you know that we're speaking about the Eastway Drive and Shamrock Drive intersection improvements project. When you think about an intersection improvements project, those projects don't often um, strike you as the types of road projects that would require private property. But if you know anything about this project, you know that there is a general road widening that's going to take place as part of this project, along with a raised median, and then a multi use path, or essentially a wider sidewalk on either side of the current roadway going in both directions. And so, for that purpose, uh, unfortunately, for many of you that may be watching this, some individual private properties are going to be impacted. And that's what we wanted to talk to you a little bit about tonight, is that potential impact to your property, how it may impact you, and how we may be able to help. At the outset, let me just note that in the chat box on the right, you'll see my name, email, and direct phone number. Feel free to reach out to me at any time if you're watching this recording at a later date. Myself or somebody on our team will be available to speak with you to provide an initial consultation to be able to give you some more detail on your particular property and how that impact may look like on your parcel. So we just mentioned that some private property will be needed to allow the government, in this case the city of Charlotte, to complete this intersection improvements project. If you are a landowner that's impacted, the government will likely use the theory of eminent domain in order to be able to take the property that they need to complete the project. What is eminent domain? Put simply, it is the government's ability, or a governmental entity's ability, to take private property for a public purpose. Now, if it is determined that your property is one that will be impacted by this project, someone will reach out to you from the government. They'll say, hey, look, we're doing this project. We believe that your property is going to be needed, or at least a portion of your property will be needed for us to be able to go forward with this intersection improvements project. And at some point, they're going to make you an offer. But unfortunately, if you're unable to agree with the city of Charlotte in this particular case, they do have the power of eminent domain to be able to take what they need to take to make sure that the project is completed. Now, you as landowners, fortunately, you have rights as well. The most important of those is the right to just compensation. And what that basically means is that although the government has the right in some cases to take the property that they need to complete projects like this, you have a right to be compensated fairly and adequately for what you're losing. Unfortunately, that calculation is never very simple. The aspects that go into a determination of what is true just compensation can be complicated. If you have no experience looking at and analyzing property impacts, you're probably going to miss it. On the government side, they're often staffed with folks that have lots of experience in eminent domain matters. They know the process and the procedure and the terminology. And if you're approached out of the blue one day with a knock on your door or a call saying, hey, we're with the city, or we're working on behalf of the city, and we're here to help negotiate with some property with you, it can be an overwhelming experience and a confusing experience, and really not one that I would wish on anybody that doesn't have eminent domain experience. Fortunately, at Carrington, our team does. We have a team of lawyers and staff that are dedicated to representing landowners in eminent domain matters across a 5-state area. And that's all that our particular practice area does. And so we know the process, we know the procedure, we know the terminology. We can get involved on day one. We can walk you through exactly what will happen. We can take over communication for you. We can certainly, and our goal is to handle the negotiation for you. And we can make sure ultimately that your right to receive true just compensation is protected. In a case like this, or certainly a case with, or a project like this with a geographic impact that is relatively small, many of you may know each other. You may know your neighbors, so you'll have a sense of when the actual acquisition phase is coming. But Our information tells us that design is wrapping up now in the last quarter of 2024, and that design and engineering will be complete in early 2025, followed closely by the right-of-way acquisition phase. That phase certainly comes well before any construction might start, but that phase is necessary for the government, in this case the city, to be able to acquire the private property that they need so that they can make sure that they're going to be able to start construction as their construction schedule requires. One thing I'd like to offer to you is to reach out to our team at the information over in the chat box. I'll be glad to set you up with someone personally, or it may be me that speaks with you, to give you a better idea of the particular impact to your property. We have some proprietary software that will allow me or a member of my team in real time to pull up your address or the parcel owner, and we can look at a GIS or mapping overlay, an aerial view showing the project plan sheets overlaid with your property boundary and the current improvements that may be there, so that we can give you a very realistic perspective of what we might think that the impact to your particular property will look like. And then we don't have to, speak in generalities. We can talk more intimately about what we think, access changes might be to your property, or signage, or landscaping, or frontage, or in some cases, potential total takes of properties that are there now. The second thing I'll tell you is that those consultations that I just mentioned are always free and no obligation. We don't charge for consultations. We invite you to call us. We'll spend as much time as we can on the phone or through Zoom or through a Teams meeting with you, telling you what we believe the impact of your property might be and how we can help. The third and perhaps most important point that I'll make tonight is that oftentimes landowners are concerned about outrageous attorney's fees, and they think, will my involvement with an attorney in a case like this negate whatever the government may offer me? Will my loss with those attorney's fees be greater than what the government may offer me? Fortunately, at Bell Carrington, in our eminent domain practice, we have worked out a contingency fee structure. And that means that the attorney's fee is a percentage of the recovery in the case. We don't ask for upfront out-of-pocket expenses or fees. We don't charge hourly, and we would never require a retainer from you. And those percentages are calculated on a basis of the fee that exceeds the initial offer that a landowner receives. And so we certainly make every attempt to be fair with the landowner. Our interests are aligned as we help our landowner clients identify just compensation and identify damages to their property. We work to help make sure that they recover those damages and the true value of the property that they're losing. So nothing to lose by giving us a call, no cost, no obligation. We'd be happy to speak with you. You see our name, or you see my name, email, and phone number on the right. Again, I manage a team of folks that I work with that will be happy to help you if I can't, and we will be glad to connect you with the right person on our staff to be able to walk you through the impact to your property, how we may be able to help, and what the initial process might look like when the time comes for this right-of-way acquisition to kick off, which, again, is early 2025. So Michael Gault, on behalf of Bell Carrington, I appreciate you joining us. For those of you that are here live, and if you're watching at a later date, don't be scared to reach out. We look forward to speaking with you. Thank you again for your time.